To mark the end of Parliament Week, Leeds Beckett University hosted a workshop designed to address issues around youth engagement in politics. The workshop brought together students aged 14 and above with local councillors in Leeds. Liberal Democrat councillor Stuart Galton attended along with parliamentary candidate for the Green Party, Tim Goodall, and Leeds Council's youngest councillor, Alice Smart, for the Labour Party. Students worked together to develop reports highlighting ideas that could generate re-engagement. Their key areas highlighted were lowering the voting age, bringing politics into the school curriculum at an earlier age, and a lack of youth representation in Parliament, resulting in a lack of role models for young people.
Young people are wanting to be participating in the political system. They're not just demonised by the rest of the media. And also, when you have young people who are unemployed, it feels like they're up against the world. They don't have the opportunity to go out and change the world.
Each councillor outlined their party's initiatives around youth engagement.
The Green Party strongly believes that school should be the place where you're taught to think creatively. It shouldn't be just about learning by rote, learning for exams, regurgitating information that people ask you to. There should be much more creative thinking in there, and that should include things like politics, finding out how everything works. In the Green Party, everyone makes decisions about policy. I think that's the same for the Democrats. Anyone can put a policy into conference, and young Greens are very much encouraged to make policy and to put policy in.
And as we saw recently in the Scottish referendum, not only were politicians willing to give the vote to 16 and 17-year-olds, 16 and 17-year-olds, rose to that. They showed that they were willing to engage in our political system. They showed that they could, take on the responsibility of voting. And I'm sure that's something that would work across the rest of the United Kingdom as well. Just because you haven't reached the age of 18, you can get married, you can get a job, you have to pay full public transport fare, all sorts of things.
Despite discussing policies that affect young people, many still believe that there is a barrier between politicians and themselves.
A lot of the problem with young people not being engaged is they're entering political institutions which have no interest in engaging their thought. They're quite happy to chase the silver vote. So instead, a more proportionally representational system of voting would mean that young people's voices actually mattered and had to be listened to rather than just being ignored, and people would feel empowered to actually engage with political institutions that now currently don't feel like they care about us one bit. Politics is very unrepresentative, so when we're talking about young people, but young people aren't just young people can be women, black, they're gay, and if you look at Parliament, it's unrepresentative. They don't see people that look like them, that talk like them. They're majority from professional backgrounds. They're not from a more working class profession, so people feel like they have no say, they have no one representing them in Parliament.
Politicians still have conflicting views about how to engage young people.
Because I don't think young people need anything different to what anybody else needs in terms of politics.
People involved in government, in organisations, really need to go and talk to young people much more about what young people's issues are, to get a full understanding of what young people care about.
Despite Parliament Week engaging the young people at Leeds Beckett University, students here believe it is about time that politicians at a local and national level start to address them and their needs more, rather than chasing the silver vote. Best Interest Politics News.